Warren Buffett once said, "Be greedy when others are fearful." And the time is now. NIO share price went down 36%. But why do I think that it's going to go up a lot in 2025? In this channel, I want to give you a unique perspective about Chinese stocks listed in the US, not just from the mainstream media, also from local media and my personal contacts in China. So you remember, click the subscribe button and not going to miss out. NIO stock went down 36% in 2 months. Why do I think that they will go up a lot in 2025? So what on earth happened to NIO? Why did the stock price drop from October, which is $7.2, down to $4.6 today in December? Only 2 months' time, it dropped 36%. Is it time to buy it now? What is NIO, by the way? It is a Chinese electric vehicle company. So why did the stock price drop so much in the past 2 months? That's mainly because of Trump. Trump being re-elected as the president of the United States, which has 2 implications. First, electric vehicle companies are not a particular big fan of Trump because Trump doesn't care about climate change. So the support and subsidies would go down. The second reason, and the more important reason, is that because this is a manufacturing company and Trump wants to protect manufacturing in the US. That's why, for example, Detroit, Ford, General Motors, they will compete against NIO. And obviously, Trump will impose certain tariffs in order to protect the locally produced US cars, instead of electric vehicles produced in China. However, the situation is not as bad as suggested by the stock price crash, because NIO is actually not selling any cars in the US at the moment. There are still Chinese and European markets, which are the 2 of the biggest markets in the world, so it's not that bad as you thought. This leads me to the first point of positive trend for NIO in 2025. First and foremost, they don't need to raise capital anymore, which is extremely good news. That means that they have enough cash and cash flow in, so that they don't need to ask investors keep on putting money in to keep on running, which lead to their ambition to have break even, meaning start to make money by the end of 2026. Which is extremely important for the survival of the company. The second positive point is the delivery of cars by NIO. So in October 2024, it went up 30% compared with the same period last year. So this is higher than XPeng and Li Auto. XPeng went up 20% during the same period of time, and Li Auto went up 27% in the same period of time. However, it's even more evidence that NIO grows faster than the 2 competitors when you look at 10 months starting from the start of the year until October. The growth of NIO during this 10-month period was 35% compared with the year before, which is much higher than Li Auto and XPeng. The next 2 points are even more important why this is positive in 2025 for NIO. First of all, it has a new brand called ONVO, ONVO, which is a less upmarket brand as NIO, because NIO is actually very expensive. So this market, we are addressing around 200,000 to 400,000 RMB, which is equivalent to $28,000 up to $42,000 per vehicle, which is less expensive than NIO. And they already delivered 4.4 thousand vehicles in October. So this brand is going to address the economic slowdown with a better position. The next one is even more exciting, because there's another brand which is the mass market brand addressing outside of China, especially Europe, called Firefly. This is perfect because they are focusing on compact cars and also small SUVs. Perfect timing for economic slowdown in Europe. Okay then, why did NIO drop so much, and why do I think that it will go up a lot in 2025? Of course, there are the negatives why it went down and doesn't go up yet. Because first of all, the tariffs. Obviously, even though NIO is not in US market yet, but if they are being banned from US market or just with a very high tariffs, effectively banning them from there, then of course there's one less big market to go into. So you have China, you have Europe, but US is also one of the biggest markets in the world, and then you are out of it. So of course the growth story is less sexy now. The next one is even worse. The European market. Imagine because of geopolitics, if Europe needs to side with the US, or just to protect their own manufacturing, they could impose higher tariffs on Chinese-made cars, which would be devastating for NIO because then they cannot grow into the European market. The third point is also very important because financially they are not making money. They are literally burning money every month. So, of course, they say that they have the ambition to break even, start to make money by the end of 2026. But there are a certain number of analysts who are skeptical about this ambition. The fourth point is, can they continue to grow just in China market if you put aside US and Europe? Because even though now they go to less upmarket segment, but there are many competitions. They are not the only one in China who's competing at the medium market. So this is also a challenge for them. Last but not least, also very important is that the profit margin is very low. So the profit margin or the gross profit margin of NIO, which is the upmarket brand, is only 15%, 1.5. And the mid-market brand, ONVO, is only 10%. We're talking about just gross margin. We are excluding, this is before marketing costs, HR costs, other overheads. So this is extremely low. Okay, so NIO went down 36% in the past 2 months. Why do I think that they will go up a lot in 2025? So what's my verdict about NIO? For long-term investment, I have a bit of concern because you look at the financials, they're losing money every single month, and the earliest time they can make a profit or just to break even is the end of 2026. Let alone the profit margin is very low even for the upmarket NIO brand. We're talking about 15% gross margin. We're not even talking about net margin. So this is before marketing costs and the likes. So the financials are not super solid for the long term. Of course, some of you can argue that Amazon also didn't make money for many years, like more than 20 years. But the strategy is different from NIO. Amazon's strategy is to expand the market share at whatever costs. And of course, the investors are also willing to wait. And you can compare with Tesla. You argue that Tesla also is different, right? But Tesla distinguished itself as the pioneer in the industry. But NIO is not the pioneer. It does not distinguish itself as good as Tesla. So this kind of burning money for a long time probably doesn't apply to NIO. But hold on. Before we jump off, I still think that NIO would be a very good speculative bet for big profit. Why? Because first of all, I think the market overreacted. The share price already reflected the impact of the Trump tariff. After all, NIO's main market is still China. They have nothing in US. They don't really care about the US, so to say. Europe, yeah, there might be a changes in terms of growth story, but after all, China is still the biggest market in the world for automotive, and they are well positioned there. Secondly, they also have the mid-market brand, which is matching with the downward economic trend and could potentially benefit from it a lot. As we are expecting the Chinese government is going to have another stimulus package in early 2025 or even the end of this year. So I think there's a huge chance that we can have a speculative bet going up a lot. Of course, I'm not going to spend all my money in this. I'm going to speculate only a little bit, just in case there's something unexpected. But I think it would be a good chance that it will go up in 2025. Do you have the same opinion or you have a different opinion? Write it in the comments below. Whoever has the most likes, I will reply you directly in the video. And of course, as usual, subscribe and give us a like button so that we can continue producing videos for you guys. See you next time.